Artificial intelligence is definitely something that I think will definitely change how our society functions.
This is the Discovery Files podcast from the U.S. National Science Foundation. I'm Nate Potker. To ensure U.S. leadership in artificial intelligence continues, educators, innovators, and workers alike need to have the skill set necessary to contribute to an AI-driven economy. We're joined today by Jeremy Waisome, the Thomas O. Hunter Rising Star Assistant Professor in the Department of Engineering Education at the University of Florida, where she is part of the collaboration behind Shark AI, a program designed to introduce artificial intelligence and more specifically, machine learning techniques to middle school students. Dr. Waisome, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with asking you, what is Shark AI and how is it helping the STEM workforce of tomorrow?
The Shark AI project is a multidisciplinary team of researchers who are interested in how we integrate artificial intelligence concepts into middle school classrooms. And the idea came from a prior NSF-funded project where they engaged students with fossil shark teeth and saw that there was a lot of interest around shark teeth in middle schoolers in Florida. That doesn't sound surprising, but it is something that when we leave the state of Florida, people are like, why shark teeth? But my favorite part about it is the integration of that and artificial intelligence concepts, which I'm sure we'll get more into as we move forward.
Are people forgetting about Shark Week? Like, there's kind of the cultural thing that everybody gets a hysteria about it.
I think people believe it came, like the impetus was Shark Week. And I mean, the megalodon is kind of like our theme, like our logo. It's in our logo. Its tooth is in our logo. Right. So I would say it's tertiary out there, periphery. Like, I don't know. It's somewhere nearby, but it's definitely not why we chose it.
But it's something that can excite and catch the imagination of kids. Like, it's a entryway.
Absolutely.
Were there challenges getting teachers on board?
Oh, yeah. The project, basically, we created a curriculum that middle school science teachers can use to integrate into their classrooms that are aligned with Florida state standards, science standards. And also there's like a national standard for science. And so we identified all of the different ways that the modules could be integrated into the classroom to fulfill the standards that they need, for the testing at the state level. Our first year was rough, and it was 2021 when we were awarded the project. So our first cohort, we didn't have a lot of time to like onboard them and get them interested in the project. There are incentives involved with the teachers being a part of the project, but post-COVID, nobody was really trying to be physically in a space with anyone. We ended up, I think, with 10 teachers that first cohort, which was remarkable given what I was hearing from other projects at the time. And so we rolled with our 10, and they do a week-long summer professional development, like very intensive, introducing them to the curriculum, how to use it. These teachers know they're in-service teachers, right? So they've been working as science teachers and have not been trained in artificial intelligence. They may not know anything about shark teeth and shark anatomy. And so this is very foreign to them. It was also foreign to a few of us on the team. So, it was really interesting working with that small group. And all of them ended up implementing it in their classrooms.
How hands-on is it with the artificial intelligence for students?
They are first just observing and understanding, but we walk them through more specifically what machine learning is within artificial intelligence, and then even narrower than that, computer vision. And so initially, a huge issue we had was working with the districts because we were working with teachers from all over the state. We, at the University of Florida, have a land grant mission. And so we are embedded in all the counties in the state. And so we wanted to recruit teachers from Title I schools across the state of Florida. And so we ended up with several different counties involved, which meant several different bureaucratic systems to go
Yep.
through, right, and negotiate with. And I don't think that we realized how much effort it would take just to allow the students to use the software that we wanted to use. And so the idea is by the end of the with our curriculum, they are developing their own machine learning model using
Mm.
Google's Teachable Machine. And so it is very hands-on. It's not like, let's just talk about it. It's here's a phone, here's your laptop with your webcam. Um, we want to show you applications on your phone. We want you to know that you're engaging with artificial intelligence every day, whether you are aware of it or not. And here are some examples of that. Here are other examples of machine learning that aren't computer vision. Then also like these are the features that you want to change to improve your model, and here's how, and here's what bias is, and how you can introduce that into your data set. All of those things we want the kids to understand.
On the other hand, thinking about the shark teeth aspect, kind of what are, maybe if you could do a broad example of what a curriculum is, what
Absolutely.
are they kind of teaching the machine?
We start with an intro to AI because ultimately that's the goal, right? Like we want them to understand that. So the first module is really like, what is intelligence? What does it mean to be intelligent? And then how are machines intelligent? Right? How do those things differ? You would be amazed to hear what the students have to say about all of those things. And then from there, we go into like classification, data collection, those types of concepts. And so the students, they receive a kit of shark teeth, and I have it somewhere in my house if you want me to go and grab it for you. But they get a kit of like 16 teeth, and they're able to use the teeth to determine different features of the teeth. So first we just give them the teeth and we're like, group these how you think they should be grouped. Now, we know they're from different species of sharks. We also know that like the shark teeth were specifically chosen because they have different functions. There are some eagle ray teeth in there that look like flat plates, which don't look like teeth. And often students are just like, what is this? Like, this isn't a shark tooth. This isn't supposed to be in there. But an eagle ray is technically a shark by classification. So like, it's a lot of different ways that we're introducing these concepts to them. So is it by species that we want to organize it by? Is it by the function of the tooth that we want to organize it by? Why do those things matter to paleontologists? And why is it important for science? So that's very different than like, oh, these were the same color. And so I put them together because they're the same color. Or these were similar in size, so I grouped them that way. So we teach them about those things as well, like why that doesn't really matter to a paleontologist.
So having done it a couple years now, what aspect, like the teeth versus the AI, what aspect of it do the kids get the most excited about?
They're very excited about the teeth. So like the when they get to the teeth, it's absolute mayhem. I would say, are we going to be able to keep track of the teeth, or is a tooth going to disappear? Right?
Yep.
Because as kids, like, ooh, this is exciting.
Yep. Pocket.
Yeah, there's a 3D printed tooth that we include in the kit, and it's a full megalodon tooth. And so sometimes things grow legs and walk away, and we gotta like replenish our supply, which we get the teeth. Actually, a lot of them come from like amateur fossil hunters and folks who just like in their free time are roaming the riverbanks and like the Peace River down in South Florida, or some people up here in Gainesville, going around our rivers. So a lot there. But yeah, that's a good day. And then at the very end, when we're doing them coming up with their own model, right? It gives them autonomy to make decisions. It differs by teacher, right? Like some of them put parameters around what they expect their model to be around, but like we've had hot dog or sandwich, sneaker classification, right? Not necessarily something sciencey, but something that they felt like would be interesting to them as kids and brought them joy. And the whole idea is for them to think about artificial intelligence and understand it so that one, they're not afraid of it, but two, they also can recognize it when they're engaging with it.
And you get a little bit of scientific method in there, a little bit of classification stuff. Yeah. So it's and I think with the hot dog or sneakers, you still get all those concepts, but kind of in a little different package.
Mm-hmm.
You said there was 10 teachers the first year. You've done it 4 years now, I believe. How many were repeats? How many broadly have you gotten in the last year?
So what I saw recently from our data is we had in total 60 teachers. That was our target. We had several repeat teachers. So one thing that we decided to do, given that we had so few in the first cohort, was retain a couple of teachers as teacher leaders and empower them to help our future teachers cohorts. And so we brought them back and they talked about their experience, what went well, what didn't go so great. That first group helped us completely revise our curriculum. So you would think, we're university professors, we know what's best. And that is not true. I like to describe the environment that we were in with the middle schoolers was like going to war. Like it was, it was a lot for me. Yep. And I think the other faculty would say the same thing. Like we're dealing with quote unquote young adults and they function pretty independently, but the little ones, it's like, how do you do this every day? Like multiple times a day. Our curriculum is online, so if anyone wants to look at it, they can. And so that is something that I think was super helpful for us. We've reached over 2,000 students, which I think is the more powerful statistic of this project, is engaging with lots of students. In this last wrap-up session that we had, one of the teachers told me that two of her kids, I visited their classroom virtually, and two of her kids decided they were going to submit something to the science fair, and they won at their school, then they won at the region, and they went all the way to the state level. And they claim it's because of me. I don't know if that's true. That's what the teacher said. And I think that is for me, like I measure the success of a project as, can I reach one kid? Can I inspire one of the students? And she's like, these weren't my gifted kids. These were just kids who really got into this project. Yeah, like it just latched on in some ways.
Well, that's what it is when it's in the educational field. How do you get the people to get excited about something?
Mm-hmm. Apparently, you just introduce shark teeth, and that's it. Well,
yeah, the accessible entry is always good.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you about more broader AI in academia. Like, how are you seeing it used in, say, your education background? How are you seeing people use AI in general?
I've been working with our university. So UF is really interested in being an AI university. And what that means varies by who you talk to about it. But I will say, like, I do think that the first thing is most of the faculty are unfamiliar with artificial intelligence also. And so in the same way, we want, kids who are going through the K-12 system to have some exposure to what AI is and how it's impacting them, the resources that it's using, sustainability things, like all of that. We have to do the same thing at the collegiate level to help the faculty get onboarded. And so one of the things that I suggested was that we work with faculty learning communities. And so faculty learning communities are designed to bring together interdisciplinary groups of faculty around a central theme or topic and help them kind of come up with a shared goal and like get there. So in this case, we ended up with two communities. One was for experts in AI and what do the experts need to do to help that community on our campus. The other is for novices, folks who were like, I think AI could be interesting and relevant to my work. How do we help other people learn about the resources around campus? What do we design? And so those two groups kind of came together and created a guide for faculty who are really interested in utilizing artificial intelligence in their classrooms. And I think that that's remarkable. And I know that it was transformative for several faculty. But I see it being used in every domain, right? So I we have a lot of smart vehicles, like smart transportation in my field. So coming from civil engineering, there's a lot of that going on. Another project that I work on that's NSF supported as well is looking in agriculture. If we embed small cameras to look at root systems, can we predict crop health and production? Can we maybe mitigate something that's in the soil that we can't see because it's not manifesting itself above ground? Obviously, there's drones and things like that that are looking at crops. We do give them some examples of that. Like we show videos, we attach different short YouTube videos to some of the modules. And so one of the uses we show is there's a unmanned vehicle that will look at strawberry crops and pick the ones that are fresh, but not the ones that aren't ripe yet, and package them all in this giant robot truck, which is really cool, but also how is it doing that, right? And it's using computer vision, which is the same thing we're talking to you about. So yeah, there's a ton of different ways that it's being used. And those are some computer vision related ones, but there's many others.
How has NSF support impacted your career?
I would say it's significantly changed my trajectory. So first, from being a student, like as a grad student, I received the NSF Bridge to the Doctorate Fellowship. And that really helped me get established at my university as a student researcher. That's what funded me those first couple of years working with the faculty member on that device, and allowed me to kind of figure out where I needed to go to do the work that I was really interested in doing. So you get more flexibility when you have external funding than when you're funded by a university. So that's the first thing. Then as a faculty member, I should say as a postdoc, it completely changed my life, right? Because I was able to go across the country talking about the work that we were doing and meet people, network with folks, and develop relationships and partnerships with people who support me in more ways than I could describe. And as a faculty member, it gave me a lot of leverage to say, like, this is my work is valued, right? And here are the ways in which it's valued. There are numerical things related to that, right? There's the money side of things, but there's also the impact and how you're able to change people's lives. And the work would not be easy to do without the support from NSF, right? Like, we are paying teachers and helping them integrate these concepts that they would have to find other funds or resources to learn these concepts, and they're not going to do it, right? Like, if I have to choose between something that's going to like enhance my classroom or something that's going to help me, I'm going to choose my classroom every time if I'm one of those teachers. And so this helps us do that and do it well.
What do you think is the overall impact, or what has been the impact of the Shark AI program?
For the teachers, I think it helped them understand that they can do things that they might have otherwise said, I can't do that. Like, it's too hard. And artificial intelligence is definitely something that I think they were brave to choose to trust us and to engage with that. And so most of them said they want to continue working with the curriculum and what we created. And I'm so grateful that they still want to engage with us and they don't hate us. And, like, this is something that really has impacted the students' lives. And so I think even though the project will end, they're going to continue to use it. They're fossils, so the teeth are going to last. And hopefully they continue to be able to teach those courses to those kids. And they learn a little bit about Florida history and AI at the same time. For the kids, some of them have said, I didn't think that I was good at computing or computer things. Like, I'm not someone who is good at these things. And so there's these mixed conceptions that students have about themselves too, that they can't do it. And then if you break it down to like the easiest terms, it's like, oh, this isn't really that hard. I can follow this set of procedures. We're not asking them to bake a cake in this case. We're asking them to just follow the steps. And they can do that well. And I'm hopeful that it will inspire them to consider moving into these areas. We need more computer scientists and competent computer scientists. Maybe I should add that qualifier. So I think that will definitely change how our society functions if we're able to develop more youth who have this passion for STEM.
Special thanks to Jeremy Waisome. For the Discovery Files, I'm Nate Podker. Please subscribe wherever you get podcasts, and if you like our program, share with a friend and consider leaving a review. Discover how the U.S. National Science Foundation is advancing research at nsf.gov.